Avada Kedavra, standard function. Avada Kedavra, the killing curse, is one of the 3 unforgivable curses for a reason. When cast correctly, it ends life instantly. No burns, no bleeding, no visible wound, just a flash of green light, a rush of air, and silence. There's no counter-curse. Ordinary defenses, shields like Protego, physical barriers, even most dueling tricks, do nothing. That finality is what sets it apart from every other attack in the wizarding world. Stunning spells can be lifted, broken bones can be mended, even some curses can be reversed with enough skill and time. Avada Kedavra offers none of that, but raw power isn't enough. The caster needs intent, a true will to kill, backed by sufficient magical strength. If the heart wavers or the magic falters, the curse fizzles or misfires. That combination of perfect will and perfect execution is why so few witches or wizards can use it, and why those who do become legends for all the wrong reasons. Harry's first survival, Godric's Hollow, a Dark Lord, a baby, a mother standing between them. Lily Potter's choice to die for her son triggers a protection older than textbooks. Magic born of sacrifice, freely given. Voldemort fires Avada Kedavra at the infant, and the curse rebounds. His body is destroyed, his soul ripped apart, while Harry lives with a lightning scar and a story that should have been impossible. The spell did connect. It wasn't dodged, blocked, or dispelled. Instead, it collided with that sacrificial protection and ricocheted back at the caster. Later, Dumbledore explains the deeper consequence. Lily's love leaves a mark on Harry's very blood, a protection that can be extended by living with her kin, Petunia Dursley. Even more bizarre, the rebound event binds a fragment of Voldemort's soul to the only living vessel available, Harry, accidentally creating a Horcrux. This is the first recorded failure of Avada Kedavra, not because of wandwork or interference, but because love rewrote the terms of the duel. Harry's second survival. Fast forward to the Forbidden Forest. Harry walks to his death, willingly, to save everyone else. Voldemort casts Avada Kedavra point blank, and Harry wakes in a white liminal king's cross. How? 3 layers of magic stack into one outcome. Horcrux dynamics. As a child, Harry carried a shard of Voldemort's soul. In the forest, the curse destroys that fragment, not Harry's own soul. Elder Wand Allegiance. Voldemort wields the most powerful wand ever made, but it doesn't truly answer to him. Its allegiance has shifted, ultimately, to Harry. A wand cannot be forced to kill its rightful master. At minimum, its power is compromised when commanded against that master's life. Blood protection. Rebound. Voldemort rebuilt his body with Harry's blood in the graveyard ritual years earlier, inadvertently tethering Lily's protection to himself. That act keeps Harry anchored to life even as the curse strikes. Layered together, they produce the only known case where someone struck directly by the killing curse remains conscious enough to choose to return. The spell succeeded at one task, destroying the parasitic soul fragment, but failed to end the life it targeted. Priori Incantatem. In the Little Hangleton graveyard, Harry and Voldemort's wands lock. The cores, both from Fawkes the Phoenix, are twins, and that sibling bond triggers Priori Incantatem. Instead of instant death, a golden thread links the wands. A dome forms, and the challenger is forced to regurgitate prior spells in reverse. Echoes of Cedric, Frank Bryce, Bertha Jorkins, and James and Lily Potter. Here, Avada Kedavra doesn't fail so much as it's arrested mid-flight by wand lore older than dark magic itself. The curse never hits. The connection holds it suspended until Harry breaks contact and escapes. The lesson is stark. Even the unblockable curse can be prevented from landing under rare but lawful conditions when wand cores refuse to fight each other the way ordinary magic expects. Why not use it on Snape? Voldemort kills Severus Snape by ordering Nagini to strike rather than casting Avada Kedavra himself. That choice isn't mercy, it's strategy, born of fear. Voldemort believes the Elder Wand's loyalty belongs to the wizard who killed its previous master. If Snape killed Dumbledore, then killing Snape should transfer ownership. But Voldemort distrusts Avada Kedavra in this specific tangle of ownership and intent. If the wand's allegiance is uncertain, will the curse seal or sever that loyalty? So he sidesteps the problem and lets the snake do the work. The takeaway is chilling. Even the Dark Lord recognizes that relationships between wand and wizard can complicate the killing curse's outcome. It's not that Avada Kedavra is weak, it's that ancient wand law can make its results unpredictable. A cold casting. When Snape casts Avada Kedavra on Dumbledore, it looks textbook. Green light, a fall, death. But the context flips a common assumption about the curse. Earlier teachings say, "You've got to mean it." Many read that as rage or sadism. Snape's casting is neither. It is duty, a grim pact to spare Draco and preserve his cover. The curse still works perfectly, but the spell itself only asks a single question. Will you do it? Cinematic deviations. On film, particularly in Fantastic Beasts, Avada Kedavra sometimes appears as a slow, trackable beam. Targets flinch, dodge, even rise before falling. It looks dramatic, but it clashes with the book's instantaneous, unblockable description. Likewise, in the Ministry Duel of Order of the Phoenix film, a green bolt directed at Dumbledore seems deflected by conjured water. Stunning set piece? Absolutely. Avada Kedavra remains brutally simple. No counter curse, no shield charm, no slow motion. Fiendfyre and the limits of the killing curse. If Avada Kedavra is the apex of killing, it is not the apex of destruction. Horcruxes prove that. In the Room of Requirement, Fiendfyre, cursed flame with a will of its own, incinerates Ravenclaw's diadem and the fragment of soul inside. Where the killing curse is precise and final, Fiendfyre is chaotic and consumptive, devouring magic itself until little remains but ash and terror. When magic becomes environmental, sentient fire, collapsing architecture, surging heat, spellcasting turns unreliable. Fiendfyre kills its own caster. Avada Kedavra, for all its fearsome reputation, looks almost restrained beside a catastrophe that won't stop until it eats the world. So, is it truly unstoppable? Avada Kedavra is unblockable in ordinary dueling, but its history exposes a more nuanced truth. Sacrificial protection can invert it. Twin cores can stall it. Wand allegiance can warp its outcome. Horcrux enchantments render it irrelevant, and cinematic staging can mislead viewers about what it really does. Casting Avada Kedavra shapes the soul, because to wield it, you must will the end of a life. That's why wizarding law names it unforgivable, not simply for what it does to a victim, but for what it demands of the caster. Oh, and if you thought you knew Severus Snape already, think again. Some spells weren't just mastered, they were invented. Level 1. Zero magical sensitivity. Muggles. Muggles are individuals with no innate magical ability and no capacity to develop it. Their bodies lack a magical core, which is the source of all magical power for witches and wizards. As a result, they cannot cast spells, detect magic directly, or interact with magical forces. The wizarding world remains hidden from Muggles through powerful concealment laws and charms. Magical places like Hogwarts Castle appear as mundane ruins to non-magical eyes, and the Leaky Cauldron pub is completely invisible to them. When Muggles do encounter magical events, they are often subject to spells like the Muggle-repelling charm, which causes them to forget their purpose and leave the area. For example, during the 1994 Quidditch World Cup, Ministry officials disguised the entire event with weather manipulation and memory charms on Muggles who came too close. Muggles can be told about magic, but they can never truly sense or participate in it. Level 2. Minimal magical sensitivity. Squibs. Squibs are non-magical individuals born to at least one magical parent. Unlike Muggles, they possess a faint trace of magical essence that gives them a limited awareness of the magical world. This trace is not enough to perform spells, but it allows them to see enchanted locations, magical creatures, and artifacts that are entirely hidden from Muggles. Argus Filch, the Hogwarts caretaker, is a classic example. He can handle magical objects like the Marauder's map without activating the magical detection system known as the Trace. Another example is Arabella Figg, who could perceive Dementors well enough to testify about their presence at Harry's disciplinary hearing. While Squibs are a step above Muggles in terms of awareness, they are a world away from even the least skilled wizard in terms of active power. Level 3. Latent sensitivity. Pre-Hogwarts children. This is the stage every witch and wizard goes through before formal training. A child's magic manifests involuntarily, triggered by strong emotions, fear, or sudden need. This phenomenon is known as accidental magic. The ability comes from the child's inherent magical core, with stronger cores leading to more powerful or frequent effects. Harry Potter famously made a glass pane vanish at a zoo to free a snake. Neville Longbottom bounced unharmed after being dropped out a window, and Lily Evans could make flowers bloom and float in midair. In more destructive cases, latent magic can be explosive, as seen in the tragic case of Ariana Dumbledore. The Ministry of Magic monitors such incidents through the Accidental Magic Reversal Squad. At this stage, magic is a raw, untamed force, but its frequency and power often predict a child's future potential. Level 4, the Trained Wizard or Witch. Average Hogwarts graduate. This level represents the majority of adult witches and wizards. They have completed their magical education and can competently perform a broad range of spells. Their skills cover core disciplines like charms, transfiguration, and defense against the dark arts. They can reliably channel magic through a wand and use incantations effectively. Most at this level are capable of defensive magic, everyday utility spells, and moderate problem-solving. They take on roles as ministry clerks, shopkeepers, or Quidditch team staff. However, their skill level often plateaus unless they pursue advanced training or specialize. Non-verbal casting remains a challenge for most, and wandless magic is typically beyond their ability. Their magical knowledge tends to align closely with their school subjects, and they are unlikely to influence magical history through sheer power or innovation. Level 5. Exceptional talent and specialist witches and wizards at this level demonstrate extraordinary proficiency in one or more branches of magic. Their abilities extend beyond standard education, either through intense study, natural aptitude, or unique magical traits. They are not just users of magic, they are innovators. This category includes individuals like Severus Snape, who invented original spells and refined potion-making techniques. Minerva McGonagall is a master of transfiguration and a registered animagus, and Nymphadora Tonks is a rare metamorph magus able to change her appearance at will. These specialists often work in demanding roles such as aurors or curse breakers. They can perform non-verbal magic in high-stress situations and sustain complex enchantments. While their expertise may be concentrated in specific areas, their depth of mastery makes them incredibly powerful. Level 6. Legendary Magical Mastery. This final level is reserved for the rare few whose magical ability and influence reach the highest known limit. These individuals can reshape magical theory and perform feats beyond the comprehension of most other spellcasters. Their mastery extends across multiple branches of magic, and they can execute wandless and non-verbal magic with the same precision as wand-assisted casting. These figures often become historical landmarks. Their presence in a conflict can turn the tide of battle, and their strategic use of magic includes overwhelming displays of power. Albus Dumbledore, for example, is a legendary figure for his mastery across multiple magical disciplines. Lord Voldemort's creation of Horcruxes and control of large-scale dark forces showed unprecedented skill, and Gellert Grindelwald was a master duelist whose influence spanned continents. Few reach this level, and those who do often define the magical era in which they live. Have you ever wondered how the characters of the Shawshank Redemption were truly imagined by Stephen King compared to how we saw them in the film? Let's uncover the true details behind Shawshank's unforgettable characters, starting with the man who refused to surrender to despair, Andy Dufresne. Andy Dufresne. In the novella, Andy is described as tall and slender, with sandy blonde hair and pale skin. His eyes are distant, cold, and detached, the kind of man who looks like he's always calculating. He carries himself with quiet confidence, never raising his voice, never showing weakness. Tim Robbins captured this calm precision in the film, but his darker features and softer expressions made Andy feel more approachable. What the movie nailed perfectly was Andy's hidden strength, the way he could endure decades of suffering, plan a 20-year escape, and still walk out clean, in a suit, as if he owned the world. Ellis Boyd, Red Redding. Perhaps the biggest change. In Stephen King's story, Red is Irish. He's described as pale, with freckles and red hair, which is why the inmates call him Red. But when Morgan Freeman stepped into the role, the entire character was transformed. His voice, his wisdom, and his soulful presence turned Red into the film's moral compass. The nickname became a clever inside joke when Freeman says, "Maybe it's because I'm Irish." Freeman didn't just play Red. He became the voice of Shawshank itself. Warden Samuel Norton. In the book, Norton is a self-righteous man, obsessed with the Bible and morality, while secretly corrupt to the core. He uses scripture to control others, all while running Shawshank like his own empire. Bob Gunton's performance in the movie sharpened these traits into something terrifying. The cold stare, the strict tone, the Bible with the hidden key inside. In the novella, Norton's fate is left vague, but the movie gave him a dramatic and unforgettable ending, a suicide that symbolized the collapse of his false righteousness. Captain Byron Hadley. The book describes Hadley as the embodiment of brutality, tall, strong, and feared by every inmate. He's not clever, but his violence speaks louder than words. Clancy Brown's portrayal in the movie made Hadley unforgettable. Towering and ruthless, he personifies the iron fist of Shawshank. While the novella didn't linger on him much, the film gave him more weight, showing how guards like Hadley were part of the prison's nightmare. Brooks Hatlin. One of the most heartbreaking differences. In Stephen King's novella, Brooks is only a minor mention, an elderly librarian who struggles to adjust when he's finally released. But the film turned Brooks into the emotional soul of Shawshank. James Whitmore's performance brought tears to audiences everywhere. His gentle smile, his trembling hands feeding the birds, and his tragic fate outside prison walls showed the crushing reality of institutionalization. The famous carving, "Brooks was here," is entirely a film edition, but it became one of the most haunting moments in cinema history. Tommy Williams. Tommy in the novella is cocky, a little rough around the edges, but eager to learn. Andy takes him under his wing, helping him study for his high school equivalency test. In the film, Tommy is younger, friendlier, and almost innocent, played brilliantly by Gil Bellows. This change made his fate even more tragic. When Tommy learns the truth that could prove Andy's innocence, the warden has him silenced. In the novella, Tommy simply transfers to another prison. But in the movie, his death becomes the breaking point, the moment Andy realizes the system will never set him free. Boggs Diamond and the Sisters. In the book, Boggs and his gang, the Sisters, are described as violent predators who target Andy during his early years. They are cruel, manipulative, and relentless. The film kept this element but toned down the brutality for obvious reasons. Still, Mark Rolston's performance as Boggs gave Andy's struggle more weight. Every small victory Andy won, every beating he survived, became part of his quiet war against Shawshank itself. Other key characters. Haywood. In both book and film, Haywood is one of the inmates who provides comic relief, though in the novella, his role is smaller. In the movie, William Sadler gave him a memorable presence, making him part of Red's close-knit circle. Boggs and the Guards. In King's novella, the prison guards are faceless, a collective presence. The movie gave them distinct roles, making the cruelty feel more personal. Andy's wife and her lover. They appear briefly in both versions, more as symbols than characters. In the film, they represent Andy's wrongful conviction and the injustice that defines his life. Fat Ass. The unlucky new inmate who cries on his first night in Shawshank. His brutal beating by Hadley shows the prison's cruelty from the very beginning. In the novella, his role is minimal, but in the film, his death sets the tone for the horrors of Shawshank. From Andy's pale, distant eyes in the novella to Red's surprising Irish roots, the Shawshank Redemption changed many details when it went from page to screen. Yet, each change had a purpose, making the story more human, more emotional, and unforgettable. In the end, both versions lead to the same truth, that even in the darkest prison, hope is stronger than fear, and hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things.